What's up, YouTube? My name is Uncle Smokey, and this is Uncle Smokey Stock Trades. And before I start this video, I would like to say, I am not a financial advisor, and this is not financial advice. So please take what I say with a grain of salt, and do your own DD. Thanks for letting my 12-year-old entertain you guys for about 10 seconds. He had a boatload of fun with it. That was all his idea. When I told him that George referred to us as Yoda teaching young Skywalker, he was like, "Oh, I got my lightsabers from Disney. Can we do it?" I'm like, "Oh, yeah, we got to." So anyway, thanks for letting him have fun with that. And yeah, on with the video. Thanks. Today we're going to talk about ticker symbol MMAT. We're going to break down the TA, we're going to look at the options chain, we're going to go through both Ortex and Fintel, and at the end of the video, of course, we're going to have my prediction, and then in the middle there, we're going to have a little bit of news, some cool Fintel stuff that we're going to look at, and of course some MMTLP update-ish kind of stuff. I'm not going to concentrate too much on that anymore, just because I don't think it's all that significant at this present moment in time. So, let's go ahead and dive into the TA. So today we opened up the day at $5.17, we had a low of $5.05, a high of $5.35, and we closed the day out at $5.31, finishing up 1.92% on the day. And again, we've had small, low volume. We're talking only 5.37 million in volume, and that is at the after hours mark. So we're used to having about 18 million in volume. That's our average, and we're not even coming close. This whole week has been sideways, which is absolutely fantastic. I think that sideways action or consolidation is the best thing you can have for any stock at this level. We've been extremely volatile over the last few weeks, and for us to cool down and to just trade right at the mid-level of the RSI, kind of not doing anything, no major ups and downs, nothing really to speak of, that to me is fantastic. We have, as George would say, set up base camp at this level. $5 being a super strong level, moving all the way up to that $5.20 mark. $5.20 mark showing up again today. So we did follow my bear prediction with the exception of the volume, because we did not see volume. Like I said, it would be hard pressed to push through 535. That is an extremely difficult level for us. So we did come down, immediately touch $5.05 and made a bounce, coming all the way up to the 520 mark. Like I said before, it is resistance now, so expect for a couple of taps and for it to come back down. Now, once it did break through, it broke through strong and hard, bringing some volume with it. Now, we did trade sideways through lunchtime, all the way through the meeting, that conference that came out with George, which was absolutely awesome. He was talking about all kinds of crazy cool stuff, basically saying that we are going to be faster, we can do more, it's going to be cheaper to make the products, that we can invent faster than anybody. Like, if there's something that needs to be made, we can create it, and it can be done in a fraction of the time. It was an absolutely awesome meeting, and if you get the opportunity to watch it, go to Sterling's channel. He has got it broke down for you chapter for chapter, and he also covered it all day today, and I do believe he's covering it again tomorrow. So yeah, if you want to check that out, go check out Sterling's channel. He's got it. So back to this, we did make an attempt to break through 530 a couple of times, and finally on the break over here, we tapped 535, showing that, again, like I had said, a super strong level of resistance. But we were able to turn $5.30 into a level of support, right here consolidating into the tail end of the day. Overall showing a basically an upward trend throughout the entire day after we made our bottom. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the next chart. So here we are on the 1 hour chart. And the reason I want to bring this down to you is, first and foremost, look at this. Almost all day today was green candles, with the exception of the very opening one and the very closing one. And this is on the 1 hour chart, not the minute, not the 5, not the 30, 1 hour. Showing that basically after this point here, we really stepped in with buying volume. Even though it was low volume, it was there. It was buying volume. Showing that the first part of the day was probably the vast majority of the shorting and the sell-offs, which we see every single day. But the only problem with that is when you see a sell-off like this in the morning, and then it comes back, like we saw on the 1 minute chart, sell off and then bounces back, this is almost always going to be some form of a short coverage. And again, I'm never saying that it's going to be the long-term shorts, the guys that we're waiting to hold on to for the dividend, the torch shorts. That's not them. They're not messing with this. This is the stuff that has been happening since we've become Meta, since we've been trading on the NASDAQ as Meta materials. So when you've got shorts that are moving in and out of the stock, trying to manipulate the stock the way they have been, you can almost always expect that when these dips happen and these rips happen, there's going to be coverage. This isn't always all new buyers stepping in. Grant you, we know that these were great buying opportunities. And I'm sure people bought. If I had dry powder, I'd be all over it. All right, back to this chart. The other thing I want to show you is you'll notice that right down here, we had a golden cross on the MACD. So you'll see that once that happened, that's, again, when the volume stepped back in, buying pressure came in, and the histogram turned green, started lifting. The MACD right straight up. I mean, it came up, boom, RSI moved with it until it needed to cool off. I mean, it never went over bought on the day as far as the 1 hour chart goes, and I wouldn't expect it to ever go overbought on the volume that we've been seeing. So yeah, we're holding above the signal line right now, and that's absolutely bullish. I like that. Coming into the open of tomorrow, I would hope to see that continue. I'd like to see these histogram candles start getting bigger green again, which is absolutely possible. All we need is buying pressure in the pre-market. All right, let's go ahead and move on to the very last chart. All right, so here we are at the 1 day chart. So this chart tells a little bit different of a story. Now, of course, we're going to see a nice green candle here for the day because we did have a green day, but it's not going to engulf the following candle. It wasn't that green of a day. No, it's because we did see a higher point yesterday than we did today. And because of that reason, we're not going to engulf the entire candle. And you will notice that we did come a little bit below because we dipped a little bit lower today than we did yesterday. Now, again, I did say it looks like we're setting up a trend for the double bottom. And it is still following that trend, believe it or not, because we did have a lower low and we did not have a higher high. So for that reason, it is still a downward trend, even though it was a green day. And of course, we're looking at the histogram right down here. MACD still below the signal line. They're still basically parallel. RSI is actually starting to hook up now. It's not flat anymore. We are starting to move the hook up, which is great. Once the RSI starts hooking up, you can hope to see the MACD line to start move forward and the histogram to start getting to be smaller red bars. And then, of course, once it goes green, we're looking for a reversal. Volume steps in and boom, there we go. We're off to the races again. And with that being said, I think we're done with this. We can go ahead and move on over to the options chain. All right, so here in the options chain, basically nothing is changing. I mean, so we were talking about a gamma squeeze, and I'm telling you now, guys, I think it's off the table. We've got basically tomorrow and Friday to make this happen. And with the way we've been trading on low volume, I don't foresee any kind of gamma squeeze coming out of this week. But it's not totally out of the picture yet. All we need is some whales to step in and start buying and trading the underlying stock. Once that happens, it starts lifting the stock up above the $6 range. You're going to start seeing some serious price movement, I would think. Now, today we did, again, have 80% calls, 20% puts, a total of 7,592 contracts traded overall. Remember, that is buying and selling. And our implied volatility of the overall options chain for MMAT is at 121%. Again, it's getting lower and lower, which is more and more inviting. That's going to allow for people to come step in and get these options at a low cost for the next, call it the next one, November 19th, or even for the January strike or January expiration. It makes them want to step in when the IV is low because the options overall are low. So that's all we need to cover with the options chain right now. Let's move on to Ortex. So here we are. Let's hit refresh. All right, nothing changed. And before we actually tap into Ortex, I do want to also remind everybody, we did have the CPI data hit, and the overall market as a whole was basically green. I mean, you had some red sectors. The financial sectors, of course, red right now. But overall, the market was green, and that was after the CPI data. So I'm actually really pleased with how we went today. Generally, we overreact to bad news, and it wasn't that bad of news, but, I mean, it was worse than they were expecting. And we didn't. We reacted well with the market. It's great. I love it. I'm going to get that out of there because it takes up too much computer stuff. Don't even know what to call it. That's how computer dumb I am. All right, here we go. So, every morning I put out my morning briefing. I name it something fun every single day. Some people get a kick out of it. Some people don't. Most people do, though. Anything from Wake and Bake to the Morning Stone to anything you want. So today, utilization was at 86.74%. Cost to borrow was at 7.15%. And the days to cover at 2.26%. Now, you'll notice the cost to borrow did come down, but the days to cover did go up. And that is because we've got a lot of things happening in the stock. The overall volatility of the stock is changing. Shares on loan is at 43.65 million, and the percent of the free float is 18.87. That's how many shares are on loan, 18.87%. Now, we do know that the other day this came out as fresh data, but like I had said, I called out to be a little bit funny. How come 2 weeks ago we had the same exact exchange reported short interest, but the estimated short interest percentage is lower now? It's at 9.91%, even though we still have 25.05 million shares shorted into the market. Currently, the estimated short interest is 22.89 million, and the current short interest percent of the free float, as we had just said, was 9.9%. This is estimated. This is the intraday numbers, guys. This is what actually changes all day long. And you'll notice that we were basically flat on the day, just like the stock. They borrowed some, they returned some. Not much. All right, and finally down here, the very last piece of information on Ortex that we're going to take in. Updated on October 12th. That's not today. That's yesterday. We are at 22.7 days on loan. That is the average number of days that short positions have been holding their long positions on loan. Again, that is, of course, over the time of about 3 months. All right, now we're getting ready to start getting into the nitty-gritty, the stuff I really want to talk about. Here is the Fintel. So we're going to start with this page just because we always do. Fintel is currently showing 3.82 days to cover, a little bit higher than what Ortex is showing, and I'm curious on that. First, let's hit refresh. Let's see if any data has changed. Nothing. All right, so 80.52 out of 100 on the short squeeze score, and always keep this in mind. I only say this because it's on the page. I could give a dang less where this short squeeze score is. We're not there yet. We need to get into the tens and teens before we start seeing major squeeze potential. If we don't get up in that level, when it comes back down, it's going to come down to here or lower. I'd love to see it squeeze to, 50, 75, maybe even $100. That'd be great, right? Well, it's not going to do it from $5. And if it does, it's going to have a heck of a major correction. All right, so here's the fun stuff. Why the heck is there 2.2 million shares available all of a sudden? We didn't return that many shares. I mean, to go from 600,000, I mean, that would literally be every single share at one leading prime brokerage. I don't think so. 4.36% on the short borrow fee rate, and it's still showing that we were almost half of the volume short today. FINRA volume was over half of our overall volume, and the short volume from FINRA was over half of that volume. Now, this stuff hasn't come into play yet, but I'd be willing to bet we're going to be at that 50% mark on the overall short volume through Fintel. Now, this does not count all of the exchanges. This is only some of them, but this is a great gauge. So how is it possible, if we were still 50% short on the day, did we get a whole whopping 2.2 million shares returned to a leading prime brokerage? Not to mention what's going on over there on Ortex, whatever brokerages they're covering. I don't know. However, I'm wondering if it doesn't have something to do with that MMTLP stuff that's been going on. It's been making me curious. Now, I don't want to cover a whole lot of this. I don't want my channel to focus on this because I do think that it's starting to go away. I've been calling this out since it all began. I've been very skeptic of it. I'm a skeptic. I really don't like to trade things I don't know about, and I definitely didn't know about the OTC market. Now, I've done a lot of digging, and I know a lot about the OTC market now. And I still think that what's going on is absolutely wrong. It is not illegal. There are no restrictions on the ability to trade those preferred Series A shares. And I'm going to show you why I say that here in just 1 minute. I found something. I've been digging a little bit since I got home with my excursions, so let's just keep moving on. As we know, this information has not updated yet. I'm expecting it to update either Friday or Monday, and this is the failure to deliver information. So let's move into this. We had no new buyers today. Don't even need to have it up on the screen. Sellers. So we've talked about this. Here is Vanguard. This is in the sellers category. But if you come up here and you click on this guy here, it takes you to another section. And that's right here. This shows you all of the institutional owners for Torch, for the actual preferred shares. These are the preferred shares. Now, I don't want there to be a whole lot of confusion. So if you click this advisory, it says ownership in this security, then these positions will not be double counted. Oh, hang on, this is just a crappy one. Let's bring this one up. Institution has disclosed ownership in this security. These positions will not be double counted when calculating total shares and total value, which means you're going to take the very highest number of all of these securities, and that's the one you're going to count. And that's this one. This is all of the numbers between all of these and whatever else they had out there right here. And I'm going to show you how I can be 100% certain on that here in 1 second. So, if you click on this little box right here, this is going to take you up to another page, and this is going to basically just bring you to this. It's going to show you the ID number of this. So if you select this ID number and you take it over here to Google, which I did, and you plug it in here, it's going to give you a few of the holdings. Now, again, if you come over here and look, you can see Northern Funds, JetsX, USMX, and then you've got your Vanguards. All of these are Vanguards. And what I'm going to try and show you is how all of these are kind of irrelevant. It's not going to be the 5 million or whatever it is that I think we think it is. It's actually only this 3,488,956. And here's where I'm going to show you that. So I did Google it, and if you come right down here, this one down here is, oh, which one was it? This one. This is Vanguard. Hi, Vanguard. I actually already have this pulled up right over here. And if you... Let me go to the top of the page so I can show you what I've got. Vanguard. And of course you can go ahead and you can search through the page just by clicking on your little 3-tab box over here and go to Find on Page and type up in here what you're looking for, and there's Meta. I already put it in there. And it shows that there's 18. So we're going to go to the first one, and that's Meta Materials Inc. And this is the Torchlight Energy Preferred Series shares, showing the QSIP right here. Now, this is the old QSIP, not the new QSIP. And this is from the 30th of August, so this hasn't updated yet. This just recently updated here in October to that new QSIP number that you've seen on the OCC pages. And I do believe that new QSIP number is, oh, I'll just pop it up on the screen. You guys can read it for yourselves. Anyhow, and it is down here showing their actual balance of preferred series shares, and that is the 3,488,956 shares, and that's what they've got. So it shows you right there that that's not a number that you add up. Those are, all 5 of those are combined into this number, but the funny thing is all 5 of those don't equal this number. If we go back over here to our Fintel page, if you were to add this number, this number, this number, and this number up, it does not come to this number, which is what their current holdings show. It only comes to 1,986,133 shares. That's it. That leaves an amazing 1.5 million shares that I do not see showing up anywhere on here. Now, those could be held in different little sections of their funds there, hidden. But it's kind of funny that the requirements to get onto the OTC Pink is 1 million shares, 250,000 of them have to be available to trade. And how they have amazingly got 1.5 million shares not accounted for on this Fintel page, which I do believe that if I were to add all of these numbers up, pretty sure they should come to this, considering this is their total number of holdings. Why is it not like that? I don't know, and I would be interested to get a good answer for that, because as of right now, I'm seeing a good number of shares that could have possibly been put on the OTC Pink market by a fund, an index fund at that has easily got the ability to get a single market maker to sponsor them to put this on to the OTC Pinks. And as we know, there's basically no regulations in the Pinks. I covered this just the other day. Look, there it is. So right here, the rule will become effective 60 days after the following publication of the amendments of the Federal Register. So it hasn't even come into effect as of yet. And that is because this just started on September 28th. That whole new rule, it actually got publicated on September 28th. So, yeah, there's still basically no regulations of the pinks. And that's why I think that Vanguard has something to do with this MMTLP situation that we've got going on. Again, just off of the simple fact that we know that it takes, right up here, 25 non-affiliate shareholders who paid cash, okay? It's easy for that index fund to have 25 shareholders that paid cash. They must have 1 million shares outstanding, which at least 250,000 are free trading shares. Seems to me like there's about 1.5 million missing off of that paper. And the private company must never have been a shell company. Well, they're not. And the private company has current public information available. Well, that's very easy to do because, again, on the pinks, it's not that necessary yet. And the other thing I want to just go ahead and state is that if the shares are being sold on the OTC, and of course we're buying them up, but also if the shorts are buying them up, then it would be fair to say that they're kind of dumping them back into the regular market, just like they would on the dark pool. And that would also kind of help explain why all of a sudden there's 2.2 million shares available when I don't think we've returned that many over the last course of the couple of days. So yeah, we've shorted a lot. I mean, millions and millions of shares, not returning that many. Anyhow, I definitely think that that's the situation. I think that's why we're seeing a lot more shares being available. I don't want to call it a dilutionary thing. It's actually more of a synthetic share thing. It's as if they're trying to pull the preferred shares and turn them into regular shares. And again, this is all my opinion and my speculation. This could be absolutely outlandish. I really don't know. Only time will tell. It does look like that these brokerages have been pulling them off, stopping the trading on them for the MMTLP shares. And I called that out. So anyhow, yeah, let's go ahead and move on to the prediction. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the bear prediction as we always do. It seems to work out for us. Now, we do need volume to step in for us to go full bull tomorrow, to start seeing some serious price action. But it doesn't mean that without heavy volume, we can't have a green day, and that was described to us today. So, we're going to go ahead again, start with the bear prediction, and say we open up where we close, because that's where I like to be. Let's say we open up at the $5.30 mark. We're going to make an immediate dip. We're going to go ahead and say we're going to hit 520, probably push through it. 520 is a strong level of support, but when we have our morning dips, they're pretty heavy volume dips. I do think it's going to push through that and probably hit the 510 mark and catch there. If it does not catch, expect 505 to be the catch point, just like it was today. But I think 510 to 515 tops, I would think, 510 lowest, 515 might be a good bounce point. And then we're going to see a push back above 520. Now, again, once we remount 520, we need to stay above that, turning it back into a strong level of support, which, I mean, I'm not saying we're losing a strong level of support. It's just we got to get back up above it. Once we're there, look for $5.30. Now, I think we would probably trade right in this level for the vast majority of the day, maybe dipping below 520 again. But again, I think 520 is a solid level. So I would expect to see us move back to that relatively quick and stay at that level for the remaining of the day. And that's my bear prediction. I don't think it's going to be too crazy of a day. We have not had too crazy of a days over the last 3 days, and I think we're going to keep in that trend. Now, with the bull prediction, if we see volume step in, and I think that would be a big if, and that's, again, following the trends. Again, we start at the $5.30 mark. We're going to immediately push through $5.35. We're going to mount it. And we're probably going to trade sideways on top of that for a couple of minutes. Now, if volume is there, we'd see an immediate test of 550, bouncing off of 550, coming back down to that 535 level, and again, trading sideways for a little while. Now, we do have that morning meeting, and if George comes out and says some great stuff, being the second conference, and he wanted to wait for that conference to drop some major PR, if he comes out and says something big, I would expect 550 to be fast and 565 to be fast and 580 to be fast, and I would expect for us to move through the ranks pretty quick, ultimately securing the possibility of a gamma squeeze this week. Again, we would need some decent PR to create some decent volume, or just some decent volume, whales jumping in because they know that it's possible, to create a gamma squeeze in the options chain. But it doesn't mean we can't have some fun tomorrow. And I did say if we can get some volume, I'd see 550. Bouncing off 550 to 535 basically through the day. If we end at 550, I'd be super happy. I think we're going to be basically flat on the day again tomorrow, though. Looking for 540, 535 on the bull prediction. With that being said, that's all I got. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope I cleared up a little bit of that information on that Vanguard stuff. And I hope I'm right on it. That would be super sweet. Anyway, like, subscribe, comment for the algorithm below, and make sure that you share this video with all your friends, family. Get it out there to the metaverse. We all need to be sharing these videos. Me, Sterling, Terry, anybody out there, anybody who's making meta videos and it's very bullish, make sure people see them. Because the more information that's out there in people's heads, the better. Peace.